good morning, and welcome to Dear Life After. I am your host, Roslyn Long, and I am so glad you chose to join us on today because I know you could be doing so many other things on this beautiful Saturday morning. But listen, you know what? You still have time to what? Tag your friend, tweet your friends, text a friend, and tell them to come on over and join Dear Life After on today because we have an amazing, amazing guest for you as always. So you have time. I'm going to give you time to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and let them know to join us. We are live. Are you excited? I'm excited just because it is a new day. It is a new day, so we have another opportunity to get it right. God gave us another chance on today, but we're not going to prolong it while you're tagging, tweeting, and texting your friends. We're going to go ahead and bring on this amazing guest, Wanda White. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, hello, hello.
How are you today?
I am doing good. How about you?
Hey, it's a new day and we have another opportunity, right? I'm so excited that you decided to join us on today because I know you could be doing so many other things on today. So, we're just going to kind of dive on into the conversation on today because we're going to be talking about grief is
Dot. It
because
is.
it is something to everybody. It's so different to everyone. Uh, God, oh, yeah, grief, yeah. So, but for you, I know that you actually lost your husband.
I did.
Yes. And how long were you guys married before losing your husband?
We were married for 16 years.
For 16 years. That's a long time.
It
That's a
is.
lifetime to some people because nowadays, they just say let's get divorced. They don't they don't wait around.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
They don't wait a minute, they don't be grieving. They just be like, hey, move on to the
Move
next.
on. We're done. We're over and done. It's one thing when you get to make the choice versus the choice being made for you.
That is correct. That is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely correct. That is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely correct. But was your husband, was he ill?
No, he was actually in an accident.
Okay.
He was actually in a tractor trailer accident on the job.
So this was a sudden death.
It was sudden.
This was a sudden death. So just kind of tell me. So you said he was in an accident. So he was a truck driver.
He was a truck driver. He left out for work. Excuse me. He had left out for work that evening, and that by that next morning, he was gone. I was doing my regular routine. I call when I'm in the car on my way in, and he didn't answer. I didn't think anything about it because I know he's got stops to make. I didn't think anything about it. I went on about my day at work, and it was actually right before Christmas, and so we're at work, and we call ourselves the Little Elves, and so we were in the conference room, everything just laid out on the table, putting stuff together for everybody. And, stuff started happening and they kept trying to keep me in the conference room. And I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, I'm ready. I'm done. I'm ready to leave out of this room. And they wouldn't let me go out. And so they were like, well, your pastor is calling. I was like, well, why is my pastor calling me? Like, what is really going on? And so they were like, no, he just wants you to wait right here until he gets here. And I was like, my pastor is coming to my job. What is going on? And I'm clueless. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go to my office. Because I was, like I said, I was in the conference room and my phone and everything was in my office. And I was like, let me just go to my office. Let me call my husband, see what's going on. And they were like, no, you can't go to your office. And I was like, what? Office? What? Y'all are starting to scare me. Like, what? And so they took me from the conference room to one of my other coworkers, her office, and
Mm-hmm.
they held me in there. And I was like, what is going on? Like, y'all, first of all, y'all are starting to get on my nerves. One, because I
To get on your nerve first.
and you starting to concern me a little bit. So when my pastor got there, they brought him into the office that I was in, and he had this look on his face like he didn't, he was upset. Like, and I was like, what is happening? Like, I need to call my husband. I need to call him. And he was like, no, no, you can't. And so he literally told me standing there in her office that he had been in a truck accident, and that he was deceased. And
Wow.
I think everything after that, I went back to my office. I got my stuff. They took me home. They got my kids because both of my kids were in class. Well, actually, my daughter was in class because it was exam. So my daughter, she was in class. My youngest son, he was at home because he had a half day. So I was actually supposed to go home, get him, and bring him back because he only had he had afternoon exams. And from that point on, a lot of it is a blur. A lot of
Absolutely,
it,
absolutely. I mean, to
you know,
just, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you're here one moment, and the next moment your world is flipped, turned upside down.
Yeah, I mean, because just that sudden, he left for work. I mean, and that's the thing. I think we take for granted, that we speak to our people, our better halves, our parents, our siblings, and we just don't know that, we thinking it's a normal day or what we think is a normal day, and all of a sudden they're gone.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, just like that. Your
Mm.
life was just totally different. It just in those hours, things suddenly changed for you.
Mm-hmm. They did. They changed in my, of course, in ways that you can't imagine. I immediately became a single parent that I didn't sign up for. We had three
Right,
kids. You know,
right,
we
right.
had, you
Absolutely,
know.
absolutely. Because he's been deceased how long at this point?
So today it's 11. Well, not today marks the anniversary, but it's been 11 years.
Wow, wow. 11 years uh, of being a single parent, having to do everything per se yourself
Mm-hmm.
when you're
Mm-hmm.
used to having that mate to
To help
help,
out.
to
Uh-huh.
assist, whether that's picking them up or when something happens and you need to have that talk with one of them, so to speak. All
Mm-hmm.
those things that we take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it until you are actually in the middle of it, and you're like, wait, I have nobody to call. This is between me and you, God. At this moment, I have nobody to call. Like, and that's literally what happened. I mean, of course, I have my family and my support system, don't get me wrong, but like that intimate in the house with you, really know firsthand, see it all, be a part of it all, be involved in it all. Yeah, that's stripped away really fast.
Yeah, because like, what were the emotions like when you got home or when you were by yourself? Because here you have children that you got to tell them, that you have to explain to them, that their dad is gone. And then so when everybody goes to bed, so to speak, and obviously, like you say, you have your support system. Obviously, you guys had a church home because here your pastor came, uh, to be the one to break the news, so to speak. But what were your thoughts? What were the emotions?
Um, Honestly, anger, hurt, um, is spinning. It's almost like you can't describe what is happening in that moment. Um, I went into a shell. Like I said, I don't remember a lot. I had a lot of good people that were around me taking care of me. I remember, people coming in and out. I don't remember who came in and out. I remember bits and pieces of it. But the one thing that I can say is that first night was the only night I didn't sleep. We were up all night. We were talking. I talked to my kids. I talked to my nieces, and I was like, "Do y'all know Jesus? Like, I need to know that y'all know Jesus in this moment. I need y'all to know that y'all know Jesus because it could be any one of us at any time." Um, that I remember that being the only night that we stayed up all night. But the roller coaster of emotions, laughing and talking about him,
Mhm.
that brings a level of comfort. It also brings another level of hurt because he's no longer here, and now you're remembering. So when you get to those moments and it's like you're by yourself, you have those reflection moments. And a lot of times it was hard to be by myself because it was a time for me to really think. And when you're alone with your thoughts, it it can go left real fast. So
Real fast.
real fast, you think about what happened, you think about the what ifs, you think about, your future, how does that look? You put all of the you write your own story, and sometimes it's not a good story that you're making up in your mind.
Right, because the night of, you were so afraid, or it drove you into I'm gonna say maybe a panic, so to speak. So you wanted to make sure, that the people that were close to you knew Jesus, because now you're like, okay, anything could happen at any given moment.
At
So
any
you
given
want to
moment.
be sure that the people that you cared about had a relationship with Christ.
Yeah, that's what's most important. So yeah, that was what I remembered. I don't, like I said, I don't remember a lot of the other things that happened that night, but I remember that night we were all in the bed and sitting around, and that was one of the conversations I remember us having very clearly. Me going, "Do you know?" I just want to make sure that you know,
Yeah.
and because that was important to me. I mean, it still is important to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, because here we have a life altering event that has occurred, and so life will never be the same. Life will not be as we once knew it, so to speak.
You're so
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. The waiting for him to walk through the door was not going to occur
Mm-mm.
again.
Mm-mm. The
You
phone
know.
calls were not going to happen. The family get-togethers were different. Um, After that, I shut my family out. Really, I wouldn't do any family activities. I'm not going to get emotional about this because it's been a long time and I'm better.
That's so, I mean, but it's memories. It's still memories. So
It
those are
is.
still
I
dear to your
I
heart.
I do. I stopped doing family events because I didn't want to be around family. I didn't want to be around people. It was a journey. It was a journey.
And it's okay. And I think that that's what people need to know, is that grief is dot dot dot. And I say the dot 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 because here we are 11 years after, and it's still emotional. It doesn't mean you're not healing, but people have to understand that it's never ending, so to speak.
Mm-mm. It's never ending. It is definitely a journey, and everybody does it at their own pace and in their own way. And I used to laugh, and I used to say all the time, I said, I think I'm taking the scenic route. I'm pretty sure I'm I'm taking the scenic route through all of this. I remember when I went to the doctor, and he was like, well, I can give you something to make you feel better. And I said, when I stop taking it, am I gonna feel the way I feel right now? And he was like, yeah, chances are you are. And I was like, yeah, no, well, we're just gonna face this one head on. Like, we're just gonna take every blow that's coming, because if the medication was only gonna work while I was on the medication, then I didn't need it. Like, I don't want to be on medication. I'm just gonna,
Right.
you know what? Me and Jesus, we're gonna do a lot of talking, and we're gonna work it out. We're gonna
Yeah.
work it out.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way to put it. You're gonna take the scenic route. So and that's what people need to know, that their journey, their to getting to a place of somewhat, I'm not going to even say comfort, but of just knowing that, okay, this is life now. And so how you get there is going to look different than how I get there.
Hmm.
Because my scenic route, I might go up some hills and some mountains and some valleys, and and then there are going to be days that I'm going to be, I'm going to see the blue bonnets and the roses and all that other good stuff. But it's going to be different.
Hmm.
Each day is going to be different for everybody.
It is.
Um, and I think that's what we have to understand, is that ours is so different. And it's okay.
It is okay. It is.
Uh,
It is okay.
yeah, that everybody's journey, everybody's grief is going to be different. You
Yeah.
know, and,
We
and
we all.
having,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
for you, having to navigate, with the children. I mean, do you stay in the same home? Did y'all move? Like, what were some of the changes? What are some of the things that you had to absolutely change?
Well, we did move. Um, I was in the house that we shared, and I was downstairs in the living room and I literally heard God say, move. And I was like, wait, what? And I started crying. No, I bawled my eyes out because I was like, God, are you telling me to move? Like, this is my children's home. Like, we're raising these kids here. This is their space. This is their neighborhood. This is what they know. Are you telling me to move? Like, what is happening? And I tell you, I know everybody says they got the best kids, but I have the best kids. I have the absolute best children ever. I told them, I said, I think we need to move. And they said, Mama, whatever you need to do, we're good. Whatever you need to do. And I was like, oh, okay. And so we found another house. And my oldest son, he was in college at the time when he actually I think he had graduated college, but he wasn't living at home. And so he and his girlfriend at the time, they they decided that they wanted to move in the house. And so they actually stayed in the house that we lived in for a while, and then they went on their own journey and ended up getting married and getting their own house and that type of thing. But we did end up moving, and changing, like, made everything mine, like where it was
Yes.
ours. Now, like, if you come in this house, like there's a family photo of us, but now where I am, it's me. And it took some time to get to that point. But
So
yes, I did
so
have
you
to
still
move.
own the home?
No, I don't own the home. We ended up selling the home, and I got this one. My son and his girlfriend stayed there for a while, but then once they moved, then yes, we sold the house, and they went on their way. So
And I think that's the other thing is that people have to understand that everybody's journey, just understanding that every journey is going to be so different, you know. And for you to be sitting there and God said, move,
yeah, it was crazy.
like
I was like, now, I mean, and it's happened once or twice before where I hear just a one word and I'm like, and it startles me because I'm like, okay, God, we was I okay? I'm sorry, what were we doing? And I get, I'm like, wait, you should hear something. That's that's some of the conversations that I be having with God. I'm like, okay, God, what are we talking about now? I gotta pay attention because you just came out of left with that. But it was so audible. And like I said, that does not happen to me often, but I knew that it wasn't me. I was home alone. I knew that it had to be God. And how I ended up getting the house, I started looking. I started doing the work. I started looking. We looked at several houses and I found this house, and just happened to, when I found the house that I'm in now, my parents were in town. And so they went with me to look at a couple of houses, and we got to this house. And this was a foreclosed home. And I say that because you could tell nobody had lived in here, and the people that had lived in here didn't really take the best care of it. And so I couldn't see past the dirt and the smell of smoke and the grease and all the other stuff.
but your daddy could.
My mother could.
Oh
My mother,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
my mother was like, I love this house. And I'm going, what are we seeing the same stuff here? Like, what's happening? And so she liked the house, and I was like, okay. I'm like, my mom likes the house. Okay. Not that, and my parents don't even live here with me. They live in a whole different state. So they were in town visiting. And so I was like, okay, okay. I thought about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, we'll go for it. So by the time I said, yeah, let's put a bid on it, someone else had already had a contract on it. And I'm like, okay, fine. And so I was just still looking, and like it came back on the market like a couple of days later. So I contacted my realtor and I was like, I think this is back on the market. And she's like, are you sure? Let me check. Let me check. So she checked, and we came over here. We stood in the driveway and prayed over this property and just said, okay, God, it's up to you now. And it ended up happening. And
Wow.
it happened. It wasn't the easiest thing because I had the other house. And so they wanted me to do something with the other house because two houses on your credit, like, what is that? But I'm like, no, that house is fine. It's not on my credit. It's good because it was in my husband's name. And so we ended up having to work all that stuff out and get all that cleared up. And I ended up having to change banks halfway through and get a different bank involved. And when I got the second bank, I met this lady. Um, when so To just back up just a little bit, when after after the death happened and we were kind of getting our bearings, I went to counseling. I was in grief share for probably a year. My kids were in counseling as well, like we or therapy, trying to heal and process and that type of thing. And
Right.
one day while they were at in therapy, I was riding around waiting on them, and I went into this neighborhood, all these expensive houses. I was like, let me just kill some time. And so one of them had they have their realtor signs out. So I ended up calling her, just knowing, I'm not gonna say knowing I couldn't afford the house, but knowing I couldn't afford the house. But it was a beautiful house. So I was like, I'm just gonna call. And so she and I got to talking, and she was like, whether you buy this house or not from me, I want you to use, check out my mortgage company. And I'm like, okay. So I just tucked that information away. And then
Hmm.
when the original, so fast forward to moving, when the original mortgage company that I was going to use fell through, I was like, let me contact this guy that she had told me about. And she had given me this information because when I was sharing with her what I was going through, her daughter was actually experiencing the same thing that I was experiencing. Her daughter had just lost her husband and was going through the same. So we
Oh,
shared
wow.
that kindredness,
Yes.
and she just, wanted to take care of me and help me out or whatever. And so I did end up using the mortgage company that she recommended, and they were on it, and they got me in. And I mean, I've been here for, I think this is 9 years we've been in this house.
Okay. 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 But yeah, it's just amazing how God just kind of lined things up. He told you to move, and so he just laid all the steps out. He ordered your steps through the process of being able to get to where he would have you to be. And that's what people, and I know that's probably the hard part, is
Mm-hmm.
just, navigating through those, I'm saying, uncharted waters, is what happens. And people understanding that, uncharted waters looks different for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't wake up and be like, okay, my life is going to be different today.
No, you don't. You don't. And for it to be a sudden death, you don't have time to prepare. You don't know. Like, I did not get to say goodbye. I mean, we did not have an open casket funeral. They had to identify him by his dental records. Like, we could not say goodbye. And so to process that and to deal with that, to know. And I remember asking the funeral director, I said, I need verification. I'm that person, I need verification. And he's like, no, we can't let you. And I'm like, no, I want to. And they would not let me. So we didn't get that part of the closure that a lot of people do. And
Mm,
so we another thing that you have to process.
right, because at what point, when they say, well, oh, we can't let you, and you're saying, okay, well, I need to, regardless of what state he's in, I need to be able to lay my eyes on that, so then, like you said, so now you got to process, okay, well, I can't even do that. So even if, I mean, so obviously they didn't explain to you, well, okay, this is why. They're just
Oh
saying
no,
that.
they did. No, they explained. They explained to me why I couldn't see him, because they said that he was burned from the accident, um, and you really could not see that it was him, and they did not want that to be my last memory of him. So they didn't want me to see him because they wanted me to remember him how I always saw him.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, and it was a good reason. I mean, I hear them. I understand that it was a good reason for them and their job and what they have to do, but it wasn't necessarily a good reason for me in that moment, because I wanted to see for myself. Because it's one of those things when you don't know, it's like, you know what? I need to make sure y'all telling me the truth, because surely this couldn't have happened to me or my family or my husband or
Right.
whatever. I need
Okay.
to verify for myself. I hear you, but I need to see for me to make sure. And that did not happen.
Yeah. So how were you able to get, find peace in not being able to see him? Like, getting that closure.
Well, that's a good question. Um, I don't know how I got the closure. I'm pretty sure I had some people in my ear that was talking to me, trying to encourage me. Like I said, I went to therapy afterwards um, to continue to press on, praying and singing and, you know, finding myself in God's presence a lot. Um, I think that would probably be the biggest thing. I had to put my focus somewhere else and not, dwell on the fact that I could not see him. That one last time I had to hold on to what I had before. Like I knew what he looked like. I have those pictures. I have those memories in my heart. Um, I can see him there. I don't need to see
Hmm.
him, if it's going to damage me and my thoughts, and trouble me or traumatize me or, in any way, then, let me hold on to the positive and the good things that, were between us.
Right, because not just you being able to, how hard was that to be able to explain to to your kids, like, okay, well, you're not gonna be able to see him.
Honestly, I don't think it was me that had that conversation with them. When I say I was in a shell, I had it was like an out of body experience. I may
Okay.
have been present, but I could not tell you half the things that was going on around me. Um, like I said, people were in and out, and I had a good group of people that were supportive of them. It's one of the things I feel really bad about for them because I don't think I was as present for them as they may have needed. But I did. I was trying to stand up myself, and I couldn't hold them up and stand up
Hmm.
during that time. So I did. We did do therapy. They did therapy, on their own. I did therapy on my own. I would take them, and I would always tell them, if you want to talk about your dad, we can talk about your dad. If you want to celebrate his birthday and you know Father's Day, whatever, we would release balloons or he used to love brownies. If you want to do something to honor him, I never stopped them from doing that. Even to this day, I never stopped them from doing that. If they want to do something to honor him, um, that's your dad. I cannot take that from you. I will not take that from you. Honor him
Hmm.
how you see fit.
Right, right. So what would you tell someone else who was dealing with a situation, like you had to, in regards to the kids? Like, is there something that you maybe, wish you had done a little differently, in regards to being more present, uh, if you had been able?
Um, Honestly, I would tell anybody to lean on your tribe. I can't say that I would have done it any differently because at that moment I needed a tribe and I
Hmm.
realized just how much I needed a tribe. Like you may not have even realized that you need these people because you're used to having, your own little pod, your own little family doing your own little thing. But in times like this, you need your pod. You need your extended family. You need your posse. You need your girls. You need your team. You need it all. And it's okay because that's what they're there for. And it also helped them to um to be a part of. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
I shut them out. I promise I did when I came through or to, so to speak. I realized how much I shut them out of my life with me trying to figure everything out. So lean on your tribe and allow them to be that support system as much as possible. Love your kids, embrace your kids, and allow your kids to have that safe space even though you're hurting. Like I said, even though I was in what I was in, I never told my kids you can't talk to me about this or I can't deal with this or go away or anything like that. Always, let your kids find a safe space in you. You're all they have left. If it's a spouse,
Right.
you're it. So they need a safe space in you, and that's one thing that I did do with my kids. Somehow they have a safe space with me, and we're so close. That's why I say I have the best kids. I have the best kids ever because they're grown. They're grown now. My youngest is 25. I have a 25, a 26, and a 34, and we're just still super close. It did not divide us. And grief sometimes will do that to people, but it
Hmm.
did not divide us in our family, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, that is amazing, because what you say now is different. What you tell somebody, that's different. How it actually changed your life, your relationship with your children, and things like that.
It changed me because I got to really see who I was. One major incident that changed my life, and I say this all the time. I had gotten a new car, and my daughter was in the back seat, and it had a button on the back seat that the seat kind of reclined just a little bit, or I don't know how much it reclined because she was back there, and she was pushing the button, and I told her, I said, stop pushing that button. If your dad was here, he would not want you to push that button because he was the one you got in his car. You can't touch anything because he's the driver. The driver has to be comfortable, and you can't touch anything, right? And me,
Yeah.
I'm the one, push the button. I need to see what this button is gonna do. I need to see, turn this on and roll this and do all this stuff. And he was the one that he was like, don't mess with the stuff, leave the stuff alone. So she was back there pushing the button, and I was like, leave that alone. Your dad would not want you to mess with that. And she asked me so profoundly, what do you want? And it struck me to my core
Mm.
of what I
Wow.
want. And I'm like, wait, you're right. Push the button. I want you to push it. I want to see what I want to see what
Push
happens.
the
Push
button.
the button. I want to see what happens when you push the button. And from that moment on, I kept that in the back of my mind. What do you want? So as a wife, as a
Mm.
mother, as a caretaker, as a family person, you always put the other people first. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying don't do that at all, because you do. That's just a part of being a mom, a part of being a wife, is you're a nurturer. You always take care of people, but you go neglected a lot of times.
Mhm.
And it really took me to a time of self-discovery of, what do I like? Am I doing this because my husband liked this, or am I doing this because it's something that I really wanted to do, something that I really like doing, something that I really enjoy? So it took me on that discovery of finding out who I was. So when you find yourself, if you ever find yourself in that situation, sit with it and see what it is that you really want to do to move forward. I mean, you're gonna have people telling you to do this, to do that, to move this way. You should, but you really gotta drown that out and really sit with yourself and say, you know what? I do want you to push the button. I do want to know what is going to happen when we do this. That's what I want to know personally. You know,
Push the button.
push the button, push the button. Let's see. It's one of those moments when you can look up and really, see who you truly are at your core. And what I would like to do now going forward is be that person with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to
Right.
change to be with another person, or, I want to always take Wanda to the table. Now that I know who she is, I always want her to come to the table. And if she wants to push the button. So,
Yes. Yes.
and I
That
think that happens a lot.
yes.
I've,
That pivoting moment. I said
it
that
changed me.
pivoting moment in your life where it was just
Hmm.
like, wow, okay, you're right. What do I want?
Hmm.
Um, and I think that for other people, realizing that moment in their life, like, okay, what do I want? What
Hmm.
am I going to do? How am I going to move past what's my dot,
Hmm. That is it.
with my grief. And and I know your grief obviously was with the loss of your husband. And I think that people have to understand that we grieve in so many different ways, and not just necessarily because we've lost a spouse. We grieve in other types of relationships. We grieve because we've had to move on from friends and family,
Hmm.
things in
Hmm.
our life, and it's still grief.
It is. You
It's
still have
still
to
grief.
process a loss. You still have to process a loss. You still have to process how to live without, how to move forward. What, and then you really realize what space that person had in your life, what they really meant to you, and now you got to process that.
Yes, that's it. And I think that people have to understand that, is you have to process the loss. So whether that's, your spouse, whether that's a friend, whether that's a family member, we still have to be able to process that and move on in our lives, you
We
know?
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you one thing about grief. Grief will not be silenced. You may think you got it under control. It will not be silenced. I'm here to tell you, it's gonna come out one way or the other. It may not be through tears, but it could be in your actions. It could be in your behavior. Can become in the way what you say. It could be in how you start treating people. How you start treating yourself. It could be in your view on life. It comes out in so many ways. So it will not be silenced. It will not be. You have to process that and understand what happened. And though you may not agree with it, it may be hard to do,
Mm-hmm.
but when you realize, you'll start to recognize, oh wait, I'm seeing this from a place of grief and hurt. This is not, Rosalind didn't do anything to me. I'm seeing this because I'm hurt. I'm putting my hurt on Rosalind. You know what I mean? And so you
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to deal with that and recognize that, because it's not going to be silenced, and it can damage further relationships.
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing. That's it right there. Because I think so often, we put people and things that people are going through in a box. So we have our little perspective of how things are supposed to go or how we think they should go. So we place them in this little box. And so when it doesn't fit in that box and it's something outside of that, then here we have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But your journey might not be in this box. And how you're feeling on today because of grief, whether it's 10 years afterwards, 15 years afterwards, doesn't mean it's going to fit in this box,
You're so right.
because everybody processes things differently.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be something that, even though you've been in counseling, um, and you've healed, so to speak, but something might trigger you on that particular day.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have a reaction that wasn't expected, but it came because, as you said, because grief will not be silenced. It will not be silenced. So something triggered you, whether good, bad, indifferent,
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have some emotions that you have to display, or work through. And people are looking at you like, well, he died 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's
As
it.
if that's supposed to mean, well, oh, okay, you can't still have emotions behind losing him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing, because it is one of those things where when you don't, when it doesn't affect you, you tend to lessen how it affects others. And you want
Say that
you
again for the people in the back.
when it doesn't affect you, you tend to lessen the effect of it. You tend to make it not a big deal, or not as much of a priority, or you don't see the weight of it when it doesn't affect you directly. And when it becomes you and your world, then it's like this. And yes, the box is no longer like this. The box is now like this. And
Yes.
y'all gotta stop and pay attention, because my box is like this. But then you go, oh, but when it was my box, you didn't care. But now, but it is so
Yes.
true. We're so guilty of that. If it doesn't affect us directly, we're like, oh well, she'll be okay. But the truth of the matter is, it, like you've been saying all along, it affects everyone differently. But that doesn't negate the fact that it affected me.
Correct. Correct. And I think that's where it comes into play. When I think about when it talks about, what I'm saying, loving thy neighbors as thyself, because we have to really show the love as if it's us,
Mm-hmm.
so that we're not, so that we're not thinking about their box here, but ours is here.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're loving as ourselves,
It's
then
like
we,
this. You're right. If we're loving like ourselves, it's all the way out here. It's,
it's
it's
our,
it's important
yes,
to us too. It is
yes,
important to us too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that's where we miss the mark. As believers, that's where we miss the mark. in loving on each other as we love ourselves.
We
Now, the
do.
people who don't even love themselves, okay, unfortunately, that's a little different. That's a
That
whole
is.
nother. Well, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yes, yes, yes. We would take that box and put that box over here.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes. So I also understand. I know we've been talking about the grief, and so did grief bring you to the writing of your books?
um, yes and no.
Okay.
I can't say that that was the beginning, but I can say that that was a point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I've been in ministry for a long time, and
Okay.
um, I write, journal, teach, and develop classes and different things for a long time. But I know it played a part on me being as involved in ministry as I was. Um, I remember right after it happened, I stopped going to church for a long time, and my pastor at the time, he was like, "You need to come back to church. You need to be in the building." And I'm like, "I don't want to see people. I don't want to talk to people. I'm sick." You think I'm playing? I
No.
I am I am the opposite of the person that wants the attention and wants the people to be around and all the stuff. I appreciate my tribe because they know she's fine. We're gonna bother her anyway, and we're gonna make sure she's okay because she's just gonna go into her hole. And he had me come in, like he was like, "Come in, this way, and we're gonna let you go out this way." So I didn't have to see people. I came in through his door in his office to get inside the sanctuary. I would leave back out, so I did not have to see people for a while. Like seriously, I had shut down. I was like, okay, I'm only going
Okay.
through
You
this.
came in the celebrity door and went out.
I can't deal with people. I could not. If you're gonna make me deal with these people, I can't go. I cannot go. I cannot be a part of this. I cannot. And slowly I did get back into it. I did get back into ministry, serving again, getting the writing just kind of happened. Right before COVID started, I had started doing some little posts just trying to encourage people. And then when COVID hit, that's when I guess I really amped up with the writing. And throughout time, I would just wake up, scriptures on my heart, God giving me revelation. And I'm like, okay, I got to write this down. I got to write this down. I got to capture it. And
Okay.
lo and behold, I was like, okay. So one of the things that I always wanted was for my 40th birthday. I wanted a big 40th birthday party, right? I want this
Okay.
whole huge celebration. And I used to tell my husband leading up to it, I want a celebration, I want a big party, all of the things. And he was just say, I'll give you one at your 50th. I'll give you one at your 50th. And he didn't make it to my 50th. Just put that pin there, so if you want to do something, don't wait. He was like, I'll give you one for your 50th. And I'm like, I gotta wait, till I'm 50. Well, like I said, he didn't make it until my 50th. But what happened was I'm coming up on 50. And for me, 50 is like this huge, milestone in
Right.
my life, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I thought about doing the devotional, and that's just kind of how it started. It started off as a legacy for my kids, something I wanted to do for me for my birthday, something I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do to encourage others that no matter what you are going through, okay, God, I see you. I see you moving. I see your hand in it all. And that's kind of how it happened. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, I did what? I wrote a devotional. Did I do that? Like I'm so you'll be like, this girl over here is so serious about being crazy. I mean, she is so serious because I wrote it and went through all of the things to get it published, had it in my hands, did not tell a soul, did not say a word about it. It's like, okay, I did it, I'm done. Yes,
Oh wow.
I was in a shell. I was behind the veil, the screen, the whatever. I was in the box for a very long time with me. I didn't want people to see me. I didn't want people because one of the things that you have to not have to understand, but from my perspective of dealing with grief, when someone says, "How are you?" It's a loaded question. That's not a question that you can easily say, "I'm fine, I'm okay." That's a loaded question when you're dealing.
Yes,
And I didn't want people to be like, "How you doing? How you dealing? How you handle?" I just did not want that at all, because it makes you cry all over again, because you start thinking, "How am I? What is
yes,
happening? How am I doing?" And
yes.
I did not want that. So I stayed hidden for a very, very long time. I did. I stayed hidden for a very long time.
And that's ironic that you say that because um, I had another guest and she had lost her son. And so we were talking about the grief and we were talking about how she was explaining how people would say, well, oh, he's in a better place. And she's like, he ain't in no better place to me. She's like, stop saying that. I want people to stop saying that to me. Um, and I think that that's where we have to get is that those are not the things to say. I mean, just give a hug when you're not knowing what to say. You know, don't say anything.
Hmm.
You know,
Be
or
that
just
listening
say I'm
ear.
praying for you
Hmm.
versus, like you say, that's a loaded question to say how are you doing? Because do you really want to know how I'm doing?
Right, right. Do you really want to know?
Do
Yeah.
you really want to? Do you really want to know? And so I think that is very, very important for people to understand and see the different perspectives from people, when they're grieving the things that are so commonly done,
Hmm.
you know.
And now, I find myself, when I encounter someone who's lost somebody, I hate to ask, "How are you doing?" Like, wait, how you think I'm doing? I just lost my loved one. Like, I'm not doing well. I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing
Yes.
good. Like, that is the answer. I'm not doing good. Okay. I'm just not. Okay. I got a lot going on and stuff just happened. I can't tell you, I'm good. No. So
Mhm.
I'm always mindful now whenever I, encounter somebody. Like, that's the one question that I don't want to ask. Like, I don't want to be insensitive, because I know that's the norm thing that everybody does. But I hate that when people would say that. And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. Stop asking me." But then I don't want to get into the whole story of why I'm not okay. So you push through and you just say, "Whatever, I'm okay," so we can just move on to the next thing. But it makes you more sensitive to people, because
Mhm.
you understand that, and you
Mhm.
understand which words, trigger, which words, you shouldn't say. Like you say, that hug means a lot. That sitting in silence means a lot. Just being there ready to listen, being there ready to pick up the pieces when that person crumbles. The small things, seemingly small things, mean a lot. I remember somebody bought over toilet paper and paper towels, and I promise you, I don't even know who brought it over. I don't know. I think the church brought it over. I think the church brought it, and it was the best thing. I mean, because I didn't have to worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You're in
yes.
that process. It's the little things that people can take off your plate, so you don't have to worry about. I don't know how my kids ate. I honestly don't know how my children ate. I don't know what they ate. I don't know who fed my children. I don't. It meant a lot to have people step up and do stuff, and not always just want to just, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, he's in a better place. God knows." All of that stuff. And I get it. God does know, and I get it. But in the moment, let me tell you who was mad at
Yes.
God. I was upset with God. Like, I was like,
Now,
wait,
see
you
that part,
you
and I
know,
think that's what people like is people really can appreciate the transparency in regards to saying that okay, you was upset with God, and that's okay. You know
yeah.
what I mean? That's
Even when
really
I
okay.
realized what was happening, when I came through, I was like, "You know what? I'm mad." Like, God, but you know what? Let me say that on the other side of that, about being mad, God ain't afraid of that. That's what we get scared of. I took my anger to him. I took my
Yes,
feelings to
yes,
him. Like, whatever I was crying out to him, and he was right. He's a big God. He's not afraid of how I feel, but I gave them to him so that he could help me process them and deal with them. Like, instead of turning my anger and saying, "I don't believe in God, I don't trust God anymore." No, I'm mad, but I'm gonna still come to you, because you're the only one that can help me with this. And just and it's okay. It's
And
okay.
it is okay. It is okay. Now you have I know you have a few books. What is the name of your book, and how can someone order your book?
So I have two devotionals. Okay, God, I see you, and okay, God, I trust you.
All right.
And
Now,
yeah,
just
let
the
me tell you
names,
about my
just
journey.
the
Okay,
names of
God.
them. I'm excited. Okay. Okay, God, I
Okay,
trust you.
okay, God, I see you. Okay, God, I trust you. Um,
Yes.
and I because that's how I talk to God. I'm like, okay, God, okay, God. I'm always okay, God, okay, okay, God, okay, 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 God, okay. And they're both 31-day devotionals. And okay, God, I trust you. That was just released this past Tuesday on April the 9th. That just was released.
Yes.
So
Amazing.
excited about that one. And the Well Hello Gorgeous journal, that is just a journal that you can process some of your feelings. It's got some questions in there to get you writing. Sometimes it can be therapy. It's got some coloring pages in there just to kind of help you get out of the spaces that you find yourself stuck in. You're gorgeous. And I just want, when you read that, well, hello, gorgeous, I want you to envision seeing yourself saying that to yourself. Well, hello, gorgeous. Yep, that's you. Like telling yourself that you're gorgeous. And then just kind of, writing whatever you feel to get those emotions out, to get those feelings out, to capture those thoughts, good, bad, or ugly, because sometimes it's not always a bad thought. It's a good thought. It's a good memory
Mhm.
you want to hang on to. And so that's what Hello Gorgeous is. It's a journal, but then the devotionals, they're there to encourage you, to get you through. Okay, God, I see you. That's my reminder that God is always with you. No matter what situation you face, God is always there with you. And okay, God, I trust you. It's just that you can trust God in those situations, like crazy. Like you can lean on him
Yes.
for whatever it is. Like his word is true. You can try him for yourself. You don't have to wonder if I can trust God to come through and do what God says he's gonna do. He's gonna do it. You can trust
He's
him.
gonna do it. Yeah. And that's what we are. And you know what, I really appreciate your transparency. I hope that people will go out and order your books. I know you have a website. It's wonderwhiteministries.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, and absolutely, support your ministry in any type of way. I'm definitely gonna have to order that journal. I'm excited. Yes, okay, because I'm like, yeah, I'd be like, okay, God, this is what we doing now, for real.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm gonna be like, okay, God, I see you.
Okay, God, I see you. You
Okay.
see his hand in all of it, and all of them can be found on Amazon. Okay, God, I trust you is on Barnes and Noble. It's gonna be in actual bookstores. So I'm really glad about that. I've got a book signing that I'm gonna be doing in a couple of weeks. That's gonna be coming up. So on April
Yes.
27th. So a lot of great things that I see you, God, doing, because I can't take any credit for that. I just know that it was all God. So April 27th, I'll be doing a book signing. And like I said, they can be found on Amazon. So, yep. Okay, God is on you.
Yes, that is amazing. That is amazing. We're so happy for you, and we will definitely be keeping up with you and all the wonderful things that God is doing in your life. Again, we thank you so much for coming on and being a part of Dear Life After, so that somebody's life could be touched on today and changed in regards to your transparency for what God is doing in your life and the things that you've done. We're just so happy and elated because grief is
Mhm.
and it is different for everyone, and so we so appreciate you sharing how it is, so that people will know and be reminded it will not be silenced.
It will not be
It
silenced.
will not be silenced. It's not going to be silenced. So please, please, people, please like and follow us on all the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. And please, we have so many other wonderful other podcasts as well on the Lonnie B and Company network as well. So please remember we have Africa Restoration Movement that comes the every second and fourth Friday. It's a live podcast. You do not want to miss it. They're digging deep Then on the every third Friday at 8 a.m. Central Time, we have time of refreshing with Manny Cush. And let me tell you, he gets into the word. And then on Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m., morning tea with Lonnie B herself. You do not want to miss it. Start your day off with the daily devotional with the word. That is awesome. And then on the second and fourth Mondays, we have Believers Loving Upon Everyone podcast at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is an amazing podcast. And then on Sundays, we have My Friend Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield on Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. He has amazing guests and he's an amazing guy as well. So you don't want to miss that because even he comes back on Thursday nights and he gives you the Motivation Moments multivitamin at 7 p.m. He just gives you just a little bit just to keep you going through the week to get you there. So those are some of the wonderful things that we have going on the Lonnie Bean Company Network. And I have to give a shout out. I don't know if you guys have noticed or if you can see my shirt. Let's see here. We're going to have to show you the shirt. It says hashtag Dear Life After. And that was compliments of Tammy Joe. I've known Tammy for a long time. She's known me growing up in the church and things like that, the church I grew up in. And she decided, just as a nice gesture from her heart, to make this shirt for me. And I just want to shout out for her. She does t-shirts, and tell her thank you so much. And I wanted her to know that I was going to wear it. So I'm going to wear it on today. Everywhere I go today, they're going to be asking me, what is that? Because we all have a dear life after. Yours might not be grief, but you might be dealing with something else that you've come through in life. You might have prison, divorce, sexual molestation, whatever it is, there is an after. So we want to thank you. And if you know someone who wants to be a guest, please have them to contact us at dearlifeafter@gmail.com. If you want to support this ministry, you can send us via Cash App or Zelle. Uh, Again, we thank you for your time because you could have done something else on today outside of spending the time with us. But we do appreciate you so, so much. And just we love you and we thank you for all of your support. And we will see you here on next Saturday. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you
Make
for
it a
having
great
me.
day on purpose.